We're going to stay with it, though, and get some reaction and analysis on it. We're joined, of course, by the South African Policing Union spokesperson, Lisiba Tobakale, as well as security strategist, Mr. Andy Mashaile. Gentlemen, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I think, Mr. Tobakale, I'd like to start with you, just representing the police in the country, your concerns and some of the things that come top of mind. 3 constables, their bodies finally found. But certainly this was not the result that you would have been hoping for.
Yeah, evening, Naledi, and also greetings to your viewers and greetings to Ndate Mashaile, a fellow panel member. It is a difficult day for us in the policing family. Clearly, this is not what we expected. I mean, from the media briefing that was given by the National Commissioner on Sunday, we had hoped very highly as a union that we would find our members, being alive. But it is unfortunate that what has been reported and confirmed by the National Commissioner is that they are no more. And when we are looking at the members of the South African Police Services, we are talking about people who belong to a family. We are talking to people who belong to the society at large. We are talking about people who are essential services workers who renders this essential service to the society at large. So it is quite a loss to ourselves as a trade union, to the family, which is the law enforcement fraternity at large. And we are saying that in this incident, we should really, as society, it didn't only touch us, it touched even the society at large, as it was televised. I mean, since their disappearance, when it was reported, it was televised throughout, and there has been so many reactions, and even society, if you could check, even on social media, it really affected us as a country. And we are taking it to say, let it be a something that unites us as South Africa, as South Africans, that indeed we need to jointly unite in the fight against crime, because currently we really don't know what really has happened. The only thing that we are relying on currently, Naledi, unfortunately, it is just, speculations that are still being made. And we are saying from a perspective as a union to say, if anyone has seen anything, if anyone had anything, let them please come forward to give that information to the police, so that we can really, the investigation can really go forth, because we really don't know. As far as we don't have that white VW Polo, as long as it is not recovered, it remains to be a very important piece of investigation that really is leaving us, really, having a lot of questions relating to it not having been recovered. That is why we are saying, let us unite as South Africans, let us unite as the community and the police, and really, if anyone has seen anything or if anyone knows anything concerning to it, but we must mention it to say, we really feel for the family members, because the loss they are experiencing, I mean, it has been 6 days, not knowing where their family members are at. I mean, with the higher rate of police killings that we have in this country, everyone, if anyone does not come back home, you start to think a whole lot of things about what might have happened to them. And imagine having to sit for 6 days not knowing what has happened. It is really devastating. We know they are going through difficult situation, as today it has been confirmed that it is one of their own, their own blood who have been found in the Hennops River.
Yeah, and still so many questions around, particularly the 5th body that has been found. We know that 5 have been found, and there is the one that has yet to be identified. Mr. Mashaile, thank you so much for joining us as well. And perhaps you'd like to start off with some of your thoughts that come top of mind. But there's also the question around, is there something to be said about why we're seeing more bodies than what, officials could be looking for? Is that something that concerns you or raises a red flag?
Naledi, good evening to you, Lintate Tobakale, Lisiwa Mokhotuak. It is a red flag, Naledi. To me, it's a dumping site. To me, it's a hotspot where criminals commit their evil deeds, as in this particular instance. And the fact that the 3 officers who have been brutally murdered by those who thought that they are law unto themselves and they control life, led to the discovery of 2 more bodies. Also, our former colleague from the Centurion police station. It says to me, Naledi, we have a responsibility to ensure that members of the community are vigilant and alert. Should there be an activity in and around that spot or any other spot, members of the community should press the buttons with their local police station, go visit their station commanders and say, there is an abnormal activity happening in area A or area B, so that the police can quickly come and investigate and displace crime, and not only displace crime or those criminals, do arrest should there be evidence, or should there be reason enough for people to be arrested who are operating in that space.
You know that, Mashaile, you of course say that what you assess from it is a dumping site, and of course officials at this point not quite clear on whether or not they could say that this is a crime, or you know, there is the investigation that could look into culpable homicide, but there is also the possibility that it could be a car accident. So are you ruling that out, Mr. Mashaile, the idea of it being a car accident?
Naledi, I'm generating scenarios. I don't have first-hand information, so in generating scenarios based on a number of experiences that one has encountered. It could be a car accident, but from what has transpired, Naledi, it sounds and it looks as if there was a crime that has been committed, particularly with the 4th body that could not return, that individual that could not go back home and be found in that same spot where the 3 police officers were found. That says to me, in generating a scenario, that says to me it might be an area where criminals dump bodies after they have killed them, or after there has been criminality that has been committed by be them organized crime gangs, or be them wreck check fish and chips hijackers who might have gone in on that mode and did that cowardly act of committing those serious and heinous crimes that we look at from a distance. We want to leave this to the police, Naledi, so that they can do the linkages that will then provide the country with facts. But we pass our condolences and wish that this should not happen to our police officers. If criminals are involved on this act, I am sure that the South African policing services will dish out tea and cakes within the confines of the law and get those individuals who have done this act to voluntarily give out information once again within the confines of the law, so that this thing must never ever happen again.
Yeah, Mr. Thobakale, assist us with this. Just lessons that I suppose as a union you take from this, where you think about what needs to be done to further protect our police officers as they are out and about working to protect our community. The tracking and tracing, 6 days for us to find their bodies. Is this, for you, showing signs that we are effective at being able to find those that we've lost?
Naledi, every case has its own merits. I mean, a specific case, a specific incident would not even look like another incident that may have occurred. And I think in this regard, as we have seen the efforts that were made by the police, we need to appreciate those efforts that they have done. Because if you were tracing clearly when the National Commissioner got to the scene in terms of how the investigators were taking him through, and even, the members of the media were giving us, an ear to that, you could check clearly that, what they were explaining about where the cell phones, the last pinpoint, and in terms of one member who was trying to access their banking app on their phone at a specific time. So that clearly shows that the multidisciplinary, inclusive of the collaboration, inclusive of private security and other stakeholders, it really helped in order to really look and be able to trace and look on what really has happened that led to that vehicle ending up, to be at that scene, if indeed it got there and the bodies were found at a later stage. So we from our perspective, we are quite confident in terms of, the issue, the involvement that was shown and also the dedication that was shown. Unfortunately, it just remained to be painful for the fact that 3 police officers and another police officer whom it is not known, another member of the SAPS who it is not known on what really has happened to them, that they have lost their lives in that type of an incident. I think the lessons that we should take from there is to face the reality that if you are a police officer in South Africa, you need to know that whether you are on or you're off duty, you are faced with danger. Because if criminals happen to get hold of you, they try to rob you, they try to kidnap you, they try to do something to you, then they realize that you are a police officer. Your life, it is even more, it will even be more in danger, because they know that, anything can happen. I mean, you are trained and there's anything that could happen. The reaction at a later stage, if they are to spare your life, then, you could be able to trace back and them being coming to face the might hand of the law. So it is quite a difficult situation. The lessons that we are taking from here and going forward is just to reinforce the call that we've been making for the longest time, Naledi, that we need to protect our protectors, that we need to really declare police killings and attacks as treason, so that even if a criminal is to think of touching a police officer or a law enforcement officer, they must know that there is a tons of bricks that indeed are coming to fall on top of their head. Unlike just the normality that we have seen in terms of the sentences that the police killers are faced with in this country, if they happen to be found guilty. So we really need to deal with that as well.
Yeah. I think if we go back to Mr. Mashaile, where you talk about some of the scenarios that you're seeing, I mean, something to be said about where these bodies were found. This is a very busy stretch of road that we're talking about. And then, of course, we are looking at Hennops River. I immediately think about just how much activity actually goes on there, right? It's a road that one would imagine is busy quite a lot of the time. So any concerns then around possibly what people might have been able to see, and also just how our rivers are being used and how they're being accessed, if at all, by criminals?
Nale, there's someone who might have seen. I am definitely sure that passers-by in cars, pedestrians, some people have seen what might have gone on there. And for the fact that that spot is a very busy spot, I am definitely sure, Naledi, that the police in their investigations will be able to pick up what has happened. I am definitely sure, Naledi, that should that white polo, VW polo be found, there will be, that will be the beginning of a better understanding in terms of what actually transpired. I hope and pray that people who buy spare parts don't buy the spare parts of that car that might be dismantled. If people have bought spare parts of that white polo or of a white polo, please take those spare parts for them to be taken through the X-ray light for the data dot, so that it can be determined where that part is coming from, so that those who have perpetrated the crime of taking that car without authorization or without permission would then be able to explain to the country and the families of these law enforcement officers what happened and why it happened and how it happened and who is involved, who is the kingpin, who is the runner, and what is it that they intend to do with regard to standing before the court of the law and post the court of the law. procedures and processes.
Yeah, Mr. Mashaile, talking about parts already, Mr. Tobakhale, I mean, I immediately think about whether or not you said earlier that we really will not get to the bottom of things until we found that white polo, but the likelihood that that car will indeed be found.
Yeah, Naledi, we are hopeful. I mean, the police are out there. They are patrolling. They go to different scrapyards in their investigations. And that is why we are pleading with the members of society, like Dr. Mashaile has said, to say that if anyone has information, if remember now, we don't know, if maybe somebody has seen something or somebody has heard something, and if maybe somebody knows the whereabouts of that vehicle, that they should indeed bring it to the attention of the police. And we are quite hopeful in understanding in terms of, you know, the issues of the parts and so on, what could happen and so on, and also even coming into some vehicles crossing our borders. And we also are getting you know, hopeful for the fact that even the Border Management Authority, in terms of strengthening their functioning at the borders, in terms of things like vehicles that cross our borders through the technology that they are using, that it is now able to really avoid things like that. So we need to really hold hands as South Africans in this regard, for the fact that that VW Polo is not found. I mean, it's a new shape. It's one of those beautiful ones that are quite attractive, and the criminals, they find them to be attractive for the fact that it is a VW. It is also the new shape. It also has you know, horsepower. It has speed, and you know, most of the criminals, they would really find it, you know, worth to have it, and whether to use it for committing other crimes or for anything. But that is just a speculation that we are making, because we really do not know what really has happened to it. But we need to find that vehicle. Every effort that has to be done as a country, as South Africans, we need to hold hands together to say that let us be on the lookout for it, if indeed it is not found, up until such time that it is found, because it really holds, from our perspective, it holds a key perspective into this investigation on whether was it involved in a car accident, as it is suggested in terms of another scenario. If not, what really has happened to it, the condition thereof of that vehicle will be able to tell another story of what really has transpired. So that VW Polo, it stands to be a key, as now we have found the bodies, and even other bodies that we were not expecting to find, they were found as well. So we really need to look into that, and we hope that the investigations, as they are ongoing, the National Commissioner confirmed that they are busy with everything. So we are quite hopeful that that vehicle would be found.
Yeah. Well, we really do appreciate your time, gentlemen. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Lisiba Tobakhale there, spokesperson for the South African Policing Union, and as well as Mr. N.D. Mashaile, who is a security strategist. We've been, of course, taking a look at some of your WhatsApp. So let's see some of those that have come in. The number to share your thoughts is 072-110-5584. Mokwebo says the killing of 3 officers looks like an inside job. They were dealing with illegal mining, which most of the high-ranking police officers are on the payroll of the illegal mining masterminds. They were sold out, as is like taking pieces of bread out of the criminals' mouths. Mokwebo, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. So many scenarios also coming from those that are watching this unfold. Anonymous saying, what a devastating experience, losing 3 young constables in such tragic circumstances. #Hennops is a hotspot for criminals. Saying we should put a pin on that one. And Queen in Soweto saying, evening, Naledi. But our police, why so late? They knew the route, and today they explained that accidents normally happen in that same spot. Why couldn't they check from day one? It is suspicious. So Queen in Soweto, thank you so much for sending in that WhatsApp.